Hey guys, LevelCap here and welcome to This Week in Gaming. Overwatch is posting some incredible numbers and AMD are working on making VR affordable. If you're looking for something like FPS or DLC news, just click its category to skip to that section of the video. Mobile users see the description for timestamps. First up, 7 million people are currently playing Overwatch, which just from a numbers perspective is incredible for a game in its first week of release. In comparison, Uncharted 4's 2.7 million copies sold in its first week of release doesn't seem all that impressive, even though it is, especially for a console exclusive. Overwatch's beta broke records with 9.7 million registered players, so only time will tell how big Overwatch gets. Blizzard's also not messing around in the game when it comes to cheaters. Their most recent ban wave stopped at least 1,500 cheaters in their tracks. And I mean stopped as it looks like there's no way to bypass an Overwatch ban short of building a new PC. With users reporting being banned for cheating, buying a new copy of the game and getting banned again despite not cheating, it's clear Blizzard isn't worried about cheat bans affecting sales. While I'm sure someone will eventually figure out a way to fool Overwatch's cheat detection, it's clear that Blizzard will be ruthless in their response to it. I wish other developers would take cheating as seriously as Blizzard does. Games like CSGO and The Division are rife with hackers abusing both the game and other players. While there's certainly a place for breaking games and doing weird things with them, cheating in online multiplayer games just ruins the experience for everyone. I hope other companies start to follow in Blizzard's footsteps here and stop being such a bunch of pussies when it comes to doling out cheating punishment. Lawbreakers is set to kick off a closed alpha test sometime around E3 this month, and in fact I've been invited to stream the game on Monday. That's tomorrow, so if you want to check me out, you can tune into my Twitch channel. I think it's going to be around 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now this will be the first time that people other than convention attendees and press have had hands-on with the game. Early reviews so far have been overwhelmingly positive, with most of them noting that they were caught by surprise at how fun Lawbreakers is. That said, the average gamers playing at home are bound to have a different experience than playing at a press and convention events. I'd expect the community to agree with the early reviews of Lawbreakers, but it's anybody's guess until the closed alpha kicks off. In other alpha news, Escape from Tarkov had its first playable alpha announced this week. The alpha will begin on August 4th and will be the first time people have had a chance to check out the MMO RPG shooter for themselves. Gameplay footage released by the devs have been pretty good so far, but there hasn't been much in terms of the RPG or story elements released yet. Since it's a brand new IP and essentially a new studio, it's pretty hard to tell what the quality of this game will be until we actually get hands-on with the alpha. Hopefully I'll be there on August 4th. In other upcoming game news, a fan-made Battlefront 3 is making its way to Steam soon as a free-to-play title. Galaxy in Turmoil borrows a lot from the Star Wars universe, but not enough for the developers or Valve to be worried about getting a cease and desist from Disney. The store page for Galaxy in Turmoil isn't live yet, but should be sometime soon. Battlefront 3 was rumored to be 99% finished before LucasArts canceled the title, and while DICE's Battlefront certainly looks like a Star Wars game, many diehard Battlefront fans were disappointed by its lack of Battlefront features and game modes. Ready at Dawn's next game looks like a pretty big departure from the studio's typical games. Deformers looks like a mashup between Rocket League and Agario. The company is currently working on other unannounced titles, but has at least 20 people working on Deformers, which started as a small project for physics technology development. In DLC news, Rockstar have released the trailer for GTA 5's next DLC, Further Adventures in Finance and Felony. The DLC will give players the ability to run their own criminal organization and includes new missions, vehicles, as well as new features. Rockstar says the DLC is the biggest expansion yet for GTA 5. It will be available on June 7th. Destiny is also getting a big and possibly final expansion sometime soon. Bungie will be hosting a live stream to announce the rumored Rise of Iron DLC on June 9th. The expansion is also rumored to be Destiny's biggest expansion. The game's sequel is scheduled for release next year, so it seems likely that this will be the last major addition to the game. While it had already been released months ago, Black Ops 3 Zombies DLC, The Giant, is now available for all players to purchase. The Giant was originally released as an exclusive DLC for Season Pass and Special Edition owners of Black Ops Ops 3. Priced at $6, the remake of classic zombies map Der Riese is now available on all platforms except Xbox 360, which Activision is working to address. And speaking of consoles, World War I shooter Verdun has been rated for PS4 and Xbox One. Verdun received a massive update back in March that included all new maps, game modes, and over 40 new weapons. A console port hasn't been officially announced yet, but obviously it's on its way. With Battlefield 1 right around the corner, the competition for historical shooters is sure to be incredibly tough. That being said, Battlefield 1 does look like it's going to portray a more glamorized, over-the-top Michael Bay version of World War I versus Verdun's sort of strict trench warfare, as it does just follow one battle, the Battle of Verdun. In hardware news, AMD have announced the RX 480 GPU, a $200 GPU that's built for VR that supposedly performs as well as the 390X or a GTX 980. If this is true, the RX 480 is set to be the most powerful $200 GPU on the market, assuming Nvidia aren't going to release something similar in the next few months. AMD have yet to reveal any information about the RX 480's VR-specific features. Now, if virtual reality does become a more popular format for gaming, I can see parallel processing taking more control in the GPU world, whereas running with SLI or Crossfire setups now might give you a 20 to 30% performance boost in a lot of games and less in some of them that aren't well optimized. Virtual reality requires that you render two different screens simultaneously, and thus it makes a much better marriage with parallel processing GPUs as long as it's optimized well. In one respect, VR is a massive step back graphically for most games because they simply can't render the same sort of shadows or lighting or shader fidelity that they could normally with just one screen, because you have to basically double up on the amount of rendering. So there's a lot of games that seem like they're just lazy or graphically toned down, and unfortunately things might be cartoony for a while or simplistic for a while until the hardware can catch up. If they can make it cheaper, more affordable, that's definitely a step in the right direction, as I feel like consoles are probably one of the more realistic gateways to the world of virtual reality. And in more VR news, what is sure to annoy VR enthusiasts, yet another game has been announced as a Rift exclusive. Superhot VR is currently in development and is planned to be a Rift exclusive. This is really frustrating for consumers because most people don't have the money to invest in both systems, nor would you really want all of that hardware and junk just sitting around so that you can play games that come out for one platform and games that come out for the other platform. Essentially, both headsets can do the same thing and have virtually identical performance in terms of visual quality and stuff, so it would just be nice if they standardized the VR format and made headsets more of a peripheral choice rather than a gaming choice. Something that's definitely going to get in the way in the future is the controller setup, with the Vive having their little handhold controllers and then Oculus coming out with the touch in the near future. They might have different button placement and stuff like that, so developers are going to have to create systems that work well between the two. Neither developer has opened up their controller format yet, which they said they were going to do so that people could develop third-party controllers like gun controllers and anything else that might suit a certain type of gaming. It's going to take a while for this competitive market to even out, and I'm hoping that over time the VR developers can sort of view themselves more as peripheral companies rather than platform companies. In addition to that, Nintendo is looking to get into VR gaming with their upcoming NX console. Previously announced for a March 2017 release, mass production of the NX is rumored to now be delayed as Nintendo investigates adding VR features to their next console. Nintendo won't be talking about the NX at E3 this year, but they will be showing off the new console sometime before the end of the year. With Sony and Microsoft both having VR and hardware upgrade plans for their existing consoles, it makes sense that Nintendo would feel the need to compete. When it comes to peripherals, no one does them quite like Nintendo, so it's everybody's guess as to what a VR-capable Nintendo device would be like. In our last bit of hardware news, Steam Controller and Steam Link are currently on sale for 30% off in celebration of the Steam Controller selling 500,000 units. Valve recently added VR support to Steam Controller and has plans to continue improving the controller's capabilities in the future. Finally, in other discount news, Rainbow Six Siege now has a $15 starter edition of the game that includes 2 unlocked operators at the start and all content currently available for the full-priced version of the game. Unlocking the other operators will take much longer for the starter edition owners, as they require over 10,000 more renown to unlock than the full-priced game. If you've been holding off on getting Rainbow Six Siege, now would certainly be a good time to bite the bullet, so to speak. Anyway, that wraps it up for this week in gaming. We're quickly approaching E3 and EA Play and all the other events that are happening around E3. What games do you guys really want to hear more news about at this year's E3 event? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.